I listened to K-pop for an entire year, and now it's time for my honest opinions. In this video, we're going to be talking about everything. The K-pop fandom. Is it really toxic? Groups that stood out early on. What it's like going to an actual K-pop concert. Why K-pop? How is the audience compared to other audiences? What's my experience on YouTube been like? And my plans going forward with this journey. As of this very day, 1 year ago, I listened to K-pop for the first time ever. I wanted to experience something new, see what the hype was about. Was what everyone else said about K-pop, the fandom and everything like that all true? Well, I found out. First of all, why K-pop? Well, I've always been brought up as a metalhead. That's pretty much all I've really listened to is rock, metal. Never listened to pop really, never listened to K-pop. And as much as I love metal and rock, it's kind of in a bad spot at the moment. I feel like every release is the same. My love is just kind of, it's just a bit meh. And I wanted to experience something new. And I thought as well, why don't I document my journey as well? And that's what we did with this channel. Now, honestly, before I started listening to K-pop, I thought it was going to be all cutesy, fake, just very manufactured, branded. I didn't really have a lot of high expectations, but I must say, I was shocked. As someone that's never watched anything that has choreography and stuff like that, I didn't expect to like that. That was a whole different part of it that I just immediately fell in love with. I actually thought it was so cool. You know, I'm 34 years of age. I thought, oh, seeing grown men dance, that's going to be boring, right? No, it adds such an element to it. That really, really impressed me. And another thing that absolutely shocked me was the constant new music. You know, I come from a traditional rock and metal background where you get an album maybe every couple of years, maybe the odd single here and there. The term comeback being a thing that gets used in rock and metal is like when a band hasn't been played for 10 years or something. In K-pop, it's every 4.5 minutes, it seems, which has its downsides and its upsides. You know, you're getting way more music, you're constantly being fed, it's brilliant. At the same time, the quality may not always be there because, you know, it's just constantly pumping out, you know. I mean, I still like the traditional way, but that greedy part of you wants new music all the time. K-pop, that's what you get. Now, groups early on that just immediately hooked me in, there, I would say, and if you've been watching the channel, you'll know there's mainly been 3/3.5 maybe, and I would have to say it's been BTS, 80s, and Stray Kids. Going into it, I didn't think that the boy groups would be the ones that would get me the most because growing up in the West, you know, we had Backstreet Boys, we had NSYNC, those kind of groups. And I feel like now that I've watched K-pop, I realized we really got done dirty, man. Like they put in no effort compared to these guys. And I thought, you know, as a guy, you know, I would be more attracted to the women, of course, and be different because it's all new and exciting. And I mainly listen to rock and metal, which is primarily a male-dominated space, that the new freshness and exciting of that, you know, would maybe win me over, but it was actually the guy groups. With the exception of a couple of girl groups, I would say that Twice, I think are just absolutely top tier. I really like that group. And there were some other groups as well that I haven't fully dived into, but there have been some other cool groups as well. Blackpink, New Jeans, whatever the hell's happening over there, I don't know. Les Seraphim, Espa, there's been some really, really cool groups. There's more NMIX, there's a bunch more. Islet. But I would say that BTS, Stray Kids, and 80s really, really had an effect on me. If you watch the channel, especially with like 80s, for example, I remember the very first video that I did was Gorilla. That just completely changed everything. I knew that this was going to be a group that I was going to be obsessed with. BTS, you know, obviously I'd heard the name, I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't know anything. The diversity just absolutely and the talent, I mean, come on. And Stray Kids is just like, it's heavy metal K-pop in my opinion. Like it's just wild. It's so them. Very different, not what I expected at all. So though they really stood out for me. But it wasn't just that, it was like individual people. Jimin, if you know for this channel, like Jimin was the one that kept me going. You know, like initially I thought K-pop was cool. I didn't know how long I was gonna react to it or, you know, like give it a chance. I listened to Like Crazy, fell in love, and that just sent me down the rabbit hole. And then it opened the door for so many groups. And, you know, like I feel like especially with Jimin, like I've got a real connection, and you guys have been following the channel, it's an obsession. Hongjoong as well for 80s, I just feel like, I think he's so special, he's so talented, it's unbelievable. I wouldn't say these are biases, by the way, with the exception of Jimin, because damn. Jongho as well from 80s. I cannot stop talking about him because I think he's one of the most talented singers I've ever seen. I think he is truly a world-class vocalist, and I wish that the mainstream world knew about him. Now, that's not to say that there weren't other groups, but these were the groups that I would say initially caught me, and if I was going to introduce someone to K-pop for the first time, these are the groups that I would introduce them. But let's talk about the K-pop fandom, the community, the audience. Is it as toxic as people say? No. But also, yes. Also depends where. Now, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years now. You know, I come from a background of, you know, I used to react to anime, so I'm very used to very loud audiences that are very opinionated, very defensive, and fight each other to the death. But I've got to say, with K-pop, I was surprised because the extremes of everything that you hear are also true, but also completely not what you're told. I was told, don't even bother. It's crazy. They're all psycho. It's all like, you say the wrong thing, you're dead meat. I say the wrong thing in every video. I've never been on the receiving end of anything. If anything, I've actually found it quite a supportive and incredible community. But it does depend where you interact. If you want to interact on Twitter, God help you, take a crucifix out there, some holy water, and just be prepared because you're going to be in the trenches. But in my experience, I found people that just genuinely wanted to see you understand and celebrate the groups that they love, you know, really try and help you get the best out of it. They want to celebrate the groups and they genuinely want you to enjoy it the way that they enjoy it. Can it get a bit much? Non-considerate spamming posts on Instagram, posts of you celebrating your child's first birthday with RM has a new track coming out, please celebrate this by you know, posting your reaction here, and you know, you can reply and just say, please don't spam this on stuff about my family. It's coming out on the 24th, please make sure, like, constant. And then the new accounts being made, the bot accounts, the dupe accounts, that all exists. But at the same time, it's just passionate people. So my experiences have been pretty good. Now, have I seen the fandom wars, which I still to this day will never understand? Do certain groups that are more popular attract more attention and get more hate for whatever reason? I don't get it. Parasocial stuff is really, really prominent, and I guarantee most of these idols would not want to support it and would not want to see it. So I don't understand why the fandoms do it. I know that it's because of their love for the groups, but personally, I just don't like seeing people get involved in it. I feel like you should put your energy into something positive rather than surrounding yourself in a battlefield every day, because life is bigger than this. Just you enjoy what you enjoy. Don't hate on it, you know, don't piss on anyone else's parade. You'll have your time. And the same goes for the weird solo toxic stuff, you know, like being a BTS, like I consider myself baby army, you know, being a year, I'm absolutely obsessed with BTS, but I get the comments all the time, you know, where people will say, I don't like this group, I'm only here for X member, or like the others all suck, I love this, or, and then they make fake accounts to make it look like they're having people agree with them when it's the same accounts. You can see they've just been created and all this weird stuff, and then it becomes a constant like whack-a-mole of these weird accounts that I don't understand. You know, why would you want to promote one member knowing that they're best friends and brothers with other people in their group by putting them down? Like, do you think the person you love would want that? No way. And this is something that I've not seen in any other kind of demographic coming from like the rock and metal. Like, we don't see that because we view groups as like bands, your band of brothers or sisters or whatever, you know. So that's kind of new to me. Don't understand that, but I do understand that K-pop promotes itself in a way where like you get to know them like with the variety stuff, and you get to connect with them on a deeper level than you would with other artists. So I fully understand that you will connect more and feel more passionate. But the toxic stuff is there, but I, you know, would always defend the majority of the K-pop fandom. You know, I've seen way worse from smaller communities and larger communities of groups of people in other niches, and my overall experience, especially with like I've met you in real life. Let's actually talk about that. So not only did I want to experiencing it online and try K-pop, but I actually went to a K-pop concert. I will be going to another in June as well. I'll be going to Stray Kids in London on night one. So if I see you there, I see you there. But I also went to see ATEEZ in London, and it was one of the best concert experiences I've ever had. And I've been to hundreds of concerts, and I got to meet the K-pop fandom there. You know, we got to meet the viewers, and I just had nothing but like, you know, lovely experiences. You know, I didn't know what that was going to be like. I've always been around the leather jackets and the metalheads and stuff like that, and then you go there, it's a completely different audience. But it was so respectful, it was so lovely, so supportive. It was like, I wish that more concerts were like that. I wish more communities were like that, and it just really impressed me. And what I really loved as well was when people knew that I was going to the concert, the amount of messages that I got beforehand saying, I'm so excited, I've been thinking about you all day, I can't wait to hear your thoughts, you know, like I just want you to have the best time, remember to to do this. Here's some advice. You know, if you've not been to one of these concerts before, they're long. I just thought that it was just such a lovely, wholesome thing that I don't know I would get anywhere else. So I'll always defend K-pop fans. Let's talk about biases, because this was new to me. You know, when you get into bands or whatever, you just like them. You know, you might be like, oh, that's my favorite guitar player or whatever, but you don't connect with them on a different level. But with K-pop, it is different. Now, I didn't understand biases at first, and also as a 34-year-old male, I didn't think that biases would apply to me, that the majority of like maybe K-pop biases would, whether it be because of not just talent, but, you know, attraction and their personality and maybe like having crushes and stuff. I mean, that's just not something that I have, you know, married dad here. But there were people that I just felt a connection to in terms of their abilities, the way that they made me feel, their singing, their dancing, the way that they connect with you as maybe like a producer. And there were a few. First of all, we have to talk about Jimin. By the way, I love all of BTS, you know, like I'm obsessed. You know, if you've seen the channel, you know that we've covered them way more than any other group. Jimin, I just feel like I had an immediate connection with his style of music, his voice, his dancing. It's just everything about him is something that I've not experienced before. You know, he's a different type of voice, a different type of personality, and also because he helped me connect to K-pop. He felt like the Linkin Park of K-pop for me. He's the guy that got me through the door, you know. Then with Stray Kids, it was interesting because like I immediately it was just a vocal thing, and that was IN for me. I feel like he's the prince of that group, you know. I feel like there's something really special about his voice. I really have a tough time talking about biases because I feel like when you pick a bias, it kind of feels like you're neglecting the rest, but it's not the case because I'm obsessed with all of them. But I just felt like whenever I hear his voice, it kind of like touches like a point that nothing else does. With ATEEZ, it's actually impossible. Now, ATEEZ, I feel like, is the one true group where I genuinely cannot even get close to having a bias because they're all so special and all offer something that give me that none of them else do. I don't know whether it's because I've also seen them live. So bear in mind that this is the only K-pop group that I've seen live. So maybe it's because I would feel some sort of guilt or wherever it is. Jungkook, of course, has his voice, you know, but Hongjoong also, like, he's the captain and he's just something special as well. But then when I saw them live, you know, Yeosang and Mingi, like and Songwhite, they all came to life. And Sun, I mean, now that is a stunning human being. So yeah, I could never pick biases with ATEEZ, but I mean, the whole bias thing, for me, it's a fun thing. I don't take it seriously, whereas I know some do. I love them all. Having been coming from the anime viewership world to now pivoting into K-pop, I've seen a completely different shift in mentality when it comes to the viewers and how they are in terms of like supporting their opinions, you know, how toxic it can get. And I must say that my experience in the last year doing K-pop has been the single best experience that I've had in terms of community ever. And that's not to say that the anime community that I used to, you know, when I did reactions for that was just all like toxic. It wasn't. There were some incredible community members there. I loved my time there, but it was very much like if you didn't appreciate the thing in the exact way that the viewer wanted you to, then you were either wrong or an idiot. Whereas with music, it's very much more like you can say this isn't your favorite song and people don't hate you for it. Your opinion is actually kind of, it can't be wrong, which is the way that it should be, you know. You're not going to get like hated on for your opinion. It's just going to, you know, people will be like, that's okay, you know, this is my favorite song, or I actually like this song, but I understand, you know. But that's just a little interesting thing that I wanted to talk about just quickly there. Also, just quickly back from the K-pop live stuff, those live shows put most bands, artists to absolute shame. They perform, I think when I saw ATEEZ, they performed like 30 something songs. You're lucky to get an hour out of most bands, you know, and they're doing so much more in K-pop. It was an unbelievable experience. And yes, it can be quite expensive, but you're actually paying for like double the concert time in a way, if that makes sense. Like, I've paid more to see artists that have played for less and done less and been not as good. Do you know what I mean? So if you can, go see K-pop live. It's incredible. And let's talk about my plans going forward. You know, what is the future for K-pop when it comes to me now? Like, am I done? Like, what is it? Well, first of all, absolutely no. This is my obsession. My Spotify playlist at the moment, like my Spotify Wrapped was just all BTS, ATEEZ, and Stray Kids, as well as like Jimin and, you know, others as well. So it's been completely dominated. It's all I pretty much listen to at the moment. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And I'm loving this experience. As ARMY as well, BTS, I've never even been a fan whilst they've been active, so I'm so excited for them to come back and see what that's going to be like. I'm seeing Stray Kids in June. I can't wait for what ATEEZ have next. I can't wait to discover all these new groups that I've recently discovered. G-Dragon, Big Bang, Taemin. I want to get into so much more. I'm looking forward to seeing what Blackpink have when they come back, because I love what Lisa's been putting out. Jennie as well has really, really impressed me. So I'm really excited about the future. So nothing is going to change with regards to that. I would like to dive into more deeper stuff. I would love to like maybe have talks and, you know, interviews with people in the industry, artists, people behind the scenes involved in it, maybe a podcast or something like that. That would be something that I would really, really like as well. But that's just a time thing, whether people would want to watch that stuff. I don't know, but that's something that I would really love to dive deep into that. We're also getting into all the variety content as well over on Patreon as well. That's been an amazing experience, you know, learning these groups, the variety shows, you know, all that sort of stuff. It just adds so much more. And I think that really helps you connect to the music. I'd also like to talk to other K-pop creators in the space as well. I would also like to check out mainstream pop as well. You know, we've seen that K-pop is, you know, starting to attract a lot of mainstream pop artists in their songs, you know, whether that, you know, be like Megan Thee Stallion, Dua Lipa, all these artists that we're seeing coming over now. I'm now experiencing them for the first time and being like, whoa, that was actually really good. Like, I'd love to check that out, but, you know, I don't know whether K-pop audiences would want to see that, but then I feel like K-pop audiences are celebrating that connection now as well. So I would love to check out some of the biggest artists. You know, I never listened to Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, these people. What we saw with what Lisa has done has been really cool for me, because it's been a way to experience some of these artists that I never would have listened to. So let me know if that's something you would like to see. Do we do a year of pop? I don't know. Let me know. And maybe we'll do a follow-up to this as well. 2 years, what's it going to be like? But let me know your thoughts. What has been your impressions of the K-pop community? What were the groups that stood out to you initially? Your biases. Do you listen to pop as well? Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of this video? It's a bit different for me, but I'd love to know what you guys think. This has been my experience, and guys, it keeps going. So thank you for all of you guys that have joined me, and here's to the continuation of that journey. I'll see you in the next one.